And as we progress through various social and economic systems, we attempt to formalize this collective trust. These systems turn against us and they become instruments of bondage. This has led to this liberalization of individuals who are often unwillingly uh, becoming a part of the system simply because their material interests depend on it. Even if they don't actively choose to participate, their need to avoid the negative consequences forces them into compliance with the system. And then consequently, there is this sort of gravitational pull towards the center of this system, which draws people in. And it's often, most often than not, completely against their will or original intentions or better judgment. And then this revolution, the evolution of this system reflects this complex interplay between the need for our social organization and then the unintended consequences of the attempts at systemizing this mutual trust. And over time, this process of individualization leads to the creation of the class system, and then uh, the idea of everyone being equal or godlike was always attainable, as there would always be an oppressed class within this framework. And this is where the current political dichotomy comes from. This is exactly where it comes from. The political dichotomy that we live in stems from the individual ways in which we interact with each other and the societal system in which we're living in. On one side, there's those who benefit from the existing system that seek to preserve it. Their goal is not to spread their way of life to others, but to maintain it for themselves exclusively and for their next of kin. Literally, the 14 words. This desire to preserve their lifestyle leads to this resistance against any form of equalization that might threaten their status, which includes the preservations of concepts like the right of kings and the aristocracy. And then on the other side, we have what is typically associated with the left. And those are the people who, despite being part of the system, also feel exploited by it by witnessing what it's doing to everyone. And this group not only includes just working class people, but also upper class individuals who are aware and see the exploitation and suffering that is intrinsic to the system that they benefit from. And these are people who advocate for dismantling this current system, getting rid of the hierarchy in favor of a more collective approach where social trust and mutual support are the key organizing principles, and they don't need to be formalized or institutionalized. And then in the center is liberalism, which neither seeks to completely preserve nor revolutionize the system. Instead, liberals often aim to gradually reform the system and the extending the potential for market participation and exploitation to lower classes, basically. And they view this as a way to lift these classes up by enabling to participate in the market-driven prosperity system, which still relies on the exploitation of then a lower class. And so this tripartite division reveals deeper perspectives on human value with each ideology. Both conservatives and liberals, though, they have differing approaches, but they might not fully recognize the humanity of those beneath them in the social hierarchy, thus rationalizing this exploitation. That's why there's no left, because the system depends on exploitation, and we can't have anybody representing the point of there should be no exploitation. Liberals, in particularly, they extend their capacity for exploitation to traditionally oppressed groups under the guise of empowerment and market participation. They perceive this as progress, even if it entails the creation of a new exploited lower class. There is a part of this where you are able to see people who are considered lesser than human than you, and this is a fundamental perspective on human value and dignity, and it's what distinguishes these political ideologies and their approaches to the societal structure, right? Conservatives and liberals literally don't see the lower class as the same as them, and they see them as a pawn for either power or a threat. And That's essentially it.